All right, YouTube video number 3. Back to the fingers. So this is part 2 of pivoting after 40, right? So like I said, that was my first video, so I need grace. I realized I left out a lot. Okay, so you got the gist as far as the ending, but you didn't get the beginning, like how I even got to moving, aside from God telling me to move. So like I said, me moving to Houston is its own video, own story, but I'm going to start from knowing it was time to leave Houston. So my apartment I was living in, my lease was up November 2023. And I definitely would say I felt led like not to renew my lease. And I knew it had to be God because that was the third apartment I had lived in out in Houston, because I was in Houston for 6 years. And it was my favorite. So when I moved in, it was like brand new apartments. I did an 18-month lease and a 12-month lease. So again, had the Lord not lead me to not renew my lease, I would have been renewing it. Okay. So November 2023, I didn't renew my lease. And so I knew it was time to move to California, but I didn't feel like it was a don't renew your lease, immediately move. So it's like, all right, Lord, what am I about to do in between, right? So like I said in a previous video, I've been in choirs. So my community choir I was a part of, we actually sung in New Orleans one weekend. And it's New Orleans. I want to say it's like 4.5, 5 hours from Houston to New Orleans. So a lot of us was riding together in the choir members or whatever. It wasn't like we chartered a bus. And I rode down with an alto, and I'm a soprano. Not that that matters, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't know her like that. So, of course, I knew her because she was in the choir, but you know what I mean? So, naturally, we got 4.5, 5 hours. We got to know each other pretty well, right? So, just in talking, I explained to her, like, the Lord is calling me to move, but not immediately, but my lease is up. So, I don't know what I'm going to do. She literally offers and tells me that she lives in a 3-bedroom house, and no, actually a 4-bedroom house, upstairs, downstairs, just her and her daughter. And she offers to let me stay, and naturally we just help each other out as far as rent and stuff like that, right? So the way the house was, the master bathroom and bedroom was downstairs, so she gave me that. And then the other 3 bedrooms were upstairs. But then you know how a lot of times when the houses have upstairs, downstairs, it has like the little living area upstairs. So she was able to have that little area also upstairs. And of course, the full bathroom upstairs. So her and her daughter were upstairs. I was downstairs as far as my master bathroom, bedroom. And then naturally the obvious stuff that's downstairs. Living room, dining room, kitchen. Okay. So I actually moved in with her after my lease. Now, anyone watching familiar with Houston, all right, I'll give you this caveat. Houston is a very large city. A lot of times when you move there, people will be like, all right, you live in Houston, but a lot of times people live outside of Houston. So it's like, are you on the north side? Are you on the northeast side? Are you on the south side? And I remember when I first moved there, I'm like, guys, I just live, and I would tell them I was in Humble. It's pronounced Humble, but it's spelled Humble, right? And so that's where I was, which is considered the north side. The craziest thing is, if you live in Houston, if you're on the north side, you'll drive to the south side, no problems. But for whatever reason, if you live on the south side, they act like driving to the north is the craziest thing. So they very rarely do it, right? If they do, they're complaining. But no matter where you stay outside of Houston, you can typically get to downtown Houston 30 to 35 minutes max. It's like the weirdest thing, but it's possible. Don't ask me how, but it is, okay? My whole point in bringing that up was I always lived on the north side. I like the north side. The church I went to was on the north side, and so I like to be close to my church, right? Fast forward, she lived on the other side. She lived in Katy. Again, anybody familiar with Houston? So she was in Katy. Katy has a lot of nice homes. I definitely dealt with a lot of traffic. Also, Houston is very common to have Easy Pass. I was there probably a good 4 years to 5 years before I even bought the Easy Pass, right? It wasn't until, like I said, towards the end did I finally come up off the dime to buy the Easy Pass. Because it's like, I'm not paying no extra money just to ride this toll road. 60 cent here, 60 cent there. Like, that stuff adds up. Nah, I'm good, right? Katy is one of those places where the traffic is so backed up and busy. I took the toll roads all the time. Now, the job I had, we worked from home ever since COVID. And then naturally, once they realized we could do the same job at home, we did that. And we only went into the office twice a month when we had our team meetings. Literally, those 2 times I would go into the office, it would be so much traffic coming from Katy. I will hop on the toll road, but because it's like morning rush hour, they jack the prices up. So to take the toll road might be $6 or $7. But imagine having to do that every day. It was worth it for my peace and sanity, but like I said, I was only going to the office twice a month. Imagine having to do that every day, 5 days a week, etc., right? I told you I'm random. I was in Katy, which is further out, more traffic, but again, it worked because where else was I going to stay, right? So that was like the Lord opening up that door. Now, her lease was up the following year in July. So I knew I needed a plan at least by July, right? So my lease is up November 2023. I move in. A lot of times I'll stay an extra month outside of my lease. And basically I moved in December because I just didn't want to deal with that during Thanksgiving, right? So I moved in December into her spot. I was there from December 2023 until June of 2024. And that's what I did. So I was still working, all that good stuff. Now, knowing I was leaving, I actually put in my notice at my job in June. So June 5th was my last day at my corporate job, right? Now, when I was praying and asking God, like, when I needed to be in California by, he said my birthday, which we've established, if you watch video number 2, is June 18th. So I am a last minute person. I'm the type of person, like, I need the pressure on me. Like, when I would have projects due in school, I would wait the last minute to do the project. Now, I would do the legwork as far as the research and all that other stuff. So I wasn't starting from scratch. But as far as putting it all together and, doing the poster board and getting your markers out and all that, yeah, I waited the last minute. My mother would literally leave me up and, like, I'm going to bed, you figure it out because you wait the last minute. So I already told y'all, like, everyone with these new parents, like, that was not my mama, okay? She's like, you knew you had this project. She's not helping me do no project. Like, she helped me when I was younger, but by the time I got to middle school, it's like, no, you should be responsible. You doing your own project, right? She going to bed. It's up to you to finish it. And you better get a good I'm about to say a good job. You better get a good grade. But, so yes, I waited the last minute. And plus I hate clutter. So when it comes to moving, even when it's packing, like if I'm going on a trip, I'm packing the day before. I might throw a few things in early, but most of the time I'm doing all that packing the night before. And that's why if I got like a 7 a.m. flight, I might not even go to sleep because I'm still packing. It has definitely happened, okay? All that to say, I waited the last minute to start packing to actually move. Now, in my mind, I didn't have a lot of stuff to move because I'm moving from her house. Like, I already packed up my apartment. I have stuff in storage, but I had to bring, like, my bed, my dressers. I had clothes because, mind you, I was in 2 choirs, so I was forever having to wear XYZ. You know how choirs operate. Like, oh, you got to wear this Sunday, this, And, again, I needed a lot of my clothes because of that, right? So when I started pulling stuff out, oh my gosh. Again, I'm not the best with editing, so I wish I could insert clips here. Maybe one day when I do get better, I'll post like all these pictures. But when I tell you I was pulling out so much, I did not know I had that much stuff at her house. It was ridiculous. So had I been obedient and started packing earlier, I wouldn't have had that pressure. So lo and behold, I didn't end up moving in June. Like June 18th, I was still packing. The movers was supposed to pick up my stuff. They pushed it back 2 days. And if I talk about my movers, that is a whole nother video. But all I will say is if you plan on moving, especially out of state, please do your research and due diligence. A lot of moving companies now, how they do it is, say you're going somewhere, they want to know how many boxes you have. So it's like, how many large boxes do you have? How many extra large? How many this? And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm still packing. I can't give you that. So that's how they charge you based on what you're bringing. And then on top of that, you're on the phone with these people and they're making it sound like, oh, they'll, whatever's not packed, they'll pack it up for you. Da 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 da. Don't worry about it. Now, they don't tell you if they pack it up, they're going to charge you extra because they're now doing the labor. So you're going to get labor charges because they're packing your stuff up. But they don't tell you that on the phone. And then on top of that, it's like if you need stuff wrapped up, things of that nature, they're not charging you regular prices. Prime example, the only thing I wanted them to wrap, because listening to the person I spoke to on the phone, he made it seem like, oh, they'll pack up your stuff, da 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 da. So I left my TV, which was like a 55-inch TV, and you have a dresser with a mirror, the mirror part of my dresser. I had them wrap those 2 items for me. Do you know that they really tried to charge me $100 and said it with a straight face? Now, I done told y'all from the first video, everybody's got a boss. Like, if I need to talk to your manager, your boss, get him on the phone, because there is no way you about to hit me in the head with an extra $100 because you done wrapped a TV and a mirror. I know not. So literally $50 per item, and then on top of it try to charge me labor charges. I was like, y'all done hit your head on something. Like, we can move over, shut it down. So the guy realized, okay, like, she not having it. So he worked out some deals. He X'd that. He didn't charge me that. And then fast forward, by the time I got to my storage unit, he looked at that and was just like, oh my gosh, I had to pay them people maybe an extra $600 or $700 on top of what I was quoted, because again, the way they do it now is they want to know exactly what you're taking and they're charging you per item. I was like, what happened to, I'm moving from this place to this place and this is what the charge is going to be. So yeah, definitely, like I said, do your due diligence. And then what a lot of movers do is they're not even the company that actually takes your stuff. So whoever you talk to on the phone, they're basically brokers. They're moving brokers. So they're going to take your business, take your money, and then they're going to outsource your move and contact somebody with a truck, and that's who's going to come get your stuff. Now, these people were like, oh, if you don't know where you're going, because remember, I was staying with my cousin, so naturally I'm not bringing all this stuff to my cousin's house. So if you don't know where you're going, we can actually store it. And then when you do have your own place, you just call us and we can bring it out and we'll load it, and that won't be an extra charge because they packed it up, right? Well, what I did not know is the place that they wanted to store it. Now, they tell you they don't know how much it's going to cost to store it because, they just don't know. They can't give you that price. Do you know these people actually called me talking about it's going to be $400 to store my stuff? $400. I was like, what? Who is paying $400 to store my stuff? So that's the reason why I had a lot of stuff after the movers came and got my stuff. One, because I wasn't prepared to pay all the extras that they were charging me when they were there moving me. And two, I thought they were going to hold my stuff. And if they had my stuff, it wouldn't be like how you have access to your U-Haul storage and you can just got the key. You can go through it, get what you want, keep it moving. Like, no, if they had it, it could have been in a whole nother state, not even in California. So I kept a lot of my stuff, assuming I got a job early on. I might need these dress clothes or this and that. So for that reason, I had a lot of stuff. I'll tell you why that matters later. So that was just a whole move. And oh my gosh, if I could have done it differently, I would have just got a U-Haul, waited until my father and mother could have flew down to Texas, and we just would have been the three happy stooges on the road again, driving to California, me and my stuff, okay? Plus, my father's a truck driver. So he was down with it, but my mom really didn't want to. So I didn't want to deal with that. And because I was trying to move, I knew I was going to make June 18th, but I was still trying to move as soon as possible because I knew the Lord had told me June 18th, right? So that was the whole moving in my thought process. So finally the movers do get my stuff. I don't know if you remember, but at that time, Houston ends up having a hurricane. My church actually got messed up. Like literally to this day, it's still messed up, right? They just moved and started services in the Dream Center. Now, I ended up working on like hurricane cleanup. So it's not directly with FEMA, but FEMA, again, outsources people that literally come to different states after a disaster. And so you're on like cleanup relief. Because I needed money because, remember, I put in my notice June 5th, but I really hadn't left for California yet because it was just so much going on. I needed brake pads. I needed just different stuff to prepare your car. Because all along I had planned to drive from Houston to California. Now, one thing you don't know about me is I will hop in the car and drive anywhere. When I moved from North Carolina to Houston, I packed up my car and we drove. I actually did that drive about 2, maybe 3 times. It's no joke. I think it's like, I would break it up because I have family in Atlanta, like who don't, right? So from North Carolina to Atlanta is 6 hours. From Atlanta to Texas is about, I want to say like 13, 14 hours. So yeah, that would be the drive. I would break it up. I started doing the storm cleanup. I did that for about 3 weeks. And for that, you're really just taking pictures of, so the truck drivers are like doing all the work. They got the machine, the truck that's got the arm that can pick up the trees and all that stuff. Because again, this is storm cleanup. So the biggest trees you can think of are cut in half. They're off to the side. People have cleaned up their yards and got that stuff off to the side. So that's what they come and clean it up. And we just have to take like before pictures, a picture of the truck holding the stuff, and then the picture after, like when it's all nice and clean. Because again, for those truckers to get paid, FEMA needs to see that proof, right? So we're just standing there taking pictures. Easy job. Now, mind you, it's like hot as all get out because it's Houston, and I want to say at this point it's probably July. So it's like 90, 100 some degrees, and you're outside taking pictures. I got the construction hat on, the vest, like I'm really official out here, okay? But like I said, it was cool because you're just in your car going from location to location and just show up in the morning meeting, and then at the end you drop your stuff off and you meet up for the next day. So like I said, it was perfect for what I was doing, right? At this point, I'm couch hopping. I'm staying with different friends. Praise God. Peace out to y'all that helped me out, held me down. You know who you are. And I was just giving them something, you know? And again, cheaper than Airbnb, but they was letting me stay with them. I'll hit them up with something, right? So I did that for a little bit. And then finally it was like, okay, let me go home and regroup. So I went home for about 2 months. And that's how I ended up not getting to California until actually November. Now, there's still stories. As I'm preparing to get my car ready, I had a Honda Accord 2008 that I bought the end of 2008. So I had this Honda, like, look, we've been riding since 2008, right? But like for real, I done drove this car from Connecticut to North Carolina several times. When I went to college in Connecticut, I done drove this car. Well, no, I wasn't in college in 2008, but I don't know. I've had trips from Connecticut in this car. I definitely had trips, like I said, when I moved from North Carolina to Houston, and I was about to move from Houston to California. But the car was like, no, you're doing too much, sis. So after going, I ended up having a check engine light come on, and they started giving, you know, when you got engine problems, you got real problems. So they're like, oh, it could be approximately $2,000, whatever, to fix it, but it might not fix the issue. So we're not really sure. So they're giving you that in case it don't work and you spend all this money. Don't be mad at us because we told you, right? So it's like, who in the world is about to spend all that money under those conditions? So I was like, all right, clearly I need a new car. But remember, she's not working. Who's getting a new car and they're not working? Like, Lord, are we serious here? So I got approved because I at least had some pay stubs when I was doing the FEMA work or whatever. But it just wasn't a good look. So I ended up needing a car, because that car clearly was not going to get me to California with engine problems. So we're just going to say thank God for good parents for helping me out. So I was able to get a new car. But again, just all this stuff going on, the move and all the extra money I spent for the movers, not factoring in that I'm going to need a new car. So that messed me up. So it was just stuff on top of stuff happening. And so again, I'm thinking by the time I get to California, cue Bishop Paul S. Morton, open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain, right? No, not the case, people. So some would say, why did you even continue to move? But it's like, why didn't I? My stuff was already gone, en route to California, paid all this money. I didn't have any place to live in Houston. My apartment was gone. I was couch hopping. What else was I going to say? Regardless of where I was, I needed a new car. So it was like, all right, why? Might as well go for the gusto, right? This is why we started. Maybe this is the trick of the enemy trying to keep me stuck. So we're still pressing on. We're going, right? So that's when I get to California. So again, this is part 2. So I just wanted to go back and tell you just everything that I dealt with. A lot of my friends was like, you should be writing a book because this is a lot going on. So this is why I'm doing videos. So it's going to be documented up here. So it was just a battle. So definitely be prepared for however the story unfolds. Again, I do want comments, people. Hopefully this is helping you. So, look, that's all I got. You can imagine as I was going through it, what I'm thinking. But I actually got to a point where it's just like, really, this is what's going on, but we still pushing through. Like, I'm still getting to California. So I was focused on California. Now, things didn't pan out as I imagined or would have hoped. You already know that part, but I mean, it's life. It is what it is. So I'm one of those people, God is God. I do believe you can question God because he'll give you an answer. But, I mean, I'm not one of those people that's like, God, you told me to move, so I don't want to talk to you no more. Like, nah, we're not going there. I mean, I still need him to give me breath in the morning. I still want that morning tap. You know what I mean? I'm just not, no matter what happens, is we on the, we there. It's me and God. Like, where else you gonna go? So it's like, you got the plan. One of my favorite scriptures is, I know the plans I have for you, declare the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not harm you. Plans to give you a hope in the future. Jeremiah 29:11. Okay? So we gonna be here. Like, life be lifing. So it is what it is. But we out here though. Like I said, that's my story, part 2. I feel like I'll give you guys my move to Houston, because Houston was a faith move and how that happened. But Houston turned out better than California. But yeah, that is the story of me and how I knew it was time to leave Houston and move to California. And then for people that are like, did you like Houston? I actually did. Some say Houston is on the rise to be the next Atlanta. I don't think so. I would say it's a mixture. So you have all nationalities, Black people, whites, or Caucasian, if we're going to be politically correct. You're Spanish, Mexicans, like, you got all of that out there. You got a lot. If you're one of those people that like to support Black businesses, like, that's there. And then again, it's Houston, so there's every major team, the Rockets, the Texans, they got a soccer team, the baseball team, I can't think their name at this point, but they won the series, I want to say once or maybe twice, the 6 years I was there. So yeah, everything you need is there. And then, they get concerts. You're close to Austin, Texas, that has a lot of music festivals. I went to Austin. Dallas is like maybe 3.5 hours away. Been there. Went to San Antonio once. So there's plenty to do. I do feel like I wish I had a better budget, because I felt like it's almost like you need a second job or a side hustle to really enjoy Houston, right? But yeah, like I said, I could easily see myself moving back to Houston. It was a great place. So that's how I feel about Houston. So I rock with Texans. And I will do a video on the driver it's not even Houston, it's Texas drivers. Literally the worst drivers I have ever experienced in my life. And again, it's not just Houston, it's Texas drivers. But some says Texas has a lot of people that move from all over the place. So you have the reckless drivers, but I feel like they drive fast and reckless. Not a great combination. But again, we will save that for the next video. But that was, again, part 2 on pivoting and getting ready to move to California. Never would have thought all that stuff would have happened, but it did. All right, later. Thanks for watching. And please like and subscribe. I'll be forgetting to tell y'all that, but y'all already know how YouTube works. So like and subscribe to my channel. And share too if you like to. All right, stay tuned for video number 4. I'm being silly. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching.